and gentlemen, welcome to the Five Heart Podcast. In the absence of the effervescent Greg Mahachka, this is Todd Wolverton. I'm your host this evening, and I am joined by our benevolent founder and leader, Johnston, and the pride of Southeast Nebraska, Nate McHugh. We're here this evening to chat about Nebraska athletics and other crazy fucking stuff that comes to our mind. John, Nate, how are you guys tonight?
Did your neighbors hear you?
I'm loud. I'm loud.
Yes, no. Nate, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I don't know. I really don't.
That's true. That's true. That's your day was more interesting than mine was.
John, tell us about your day a little bit. What was so exciting about your day today?
I had a heart MRI. Have either of you had MRIs?
Yes, multiple.
I think.
Okay, well, this one, you know, they put you you lay on the table, they put you in a tube, and it's like being in a coffin, right? And it's extremely loud when they're doing the MRI scans, and except in this one, what they did is they put like this plate on my chest, and I don't know, plate's probably not the best description, but you know, they put this covering on my chest apparently to better measure the heart, to discover whether or not I have a clot in my heart, which sounds horrible, but it was a lot louder than I remember it before. The headphones they gave me didn't muffle the sound at all. And normally what I've learned during an MRI is you go in there, and I have taught myself how to put myself to sleep. But this time, Marilyn, who is the nurse, told me that I was going to have to not go to sleep, and I would have to listen to her instructions because I would have to hold my breath several times. And it turned out to be like 30 or 40 times. And I'm not exaggerating with that. You know, they put an IV in and they inject you with some kind of dye so they can better see the heart. So they can tell, like, you know, now this part's dead and that part's going to kill you and the other parts are functional. But, you know, so I laid in this thing and it was exhausting. It really is, because when you slide in there, I don't know how you guys, first thing I do when I slide into an MRI is the same thought comes to mind every time. There's going to be an earthquake, even though Minnesota doesn't have earthquakes. There's going to be an earthquake. The building is going to collapse and I'm going to be stuck in this fucking tube. And this is how I'm going to die. You know, everybody else will be killed by the building collapsing and I'll be stuck in this goddamn MRI machine. Those are the first thoughts I have to fight off. And then the second thought, after I fight that one off, the same second thought comes in and it goes, no, it's not going to be an earthquake. So I'm going to just walk into the room out there and shoot everybody. And nobody's going to know I'm going to be in here. And they'll be busy cleaning up the mess and catching that guy. And then I'll be just laying in this fucking tube, unable to get out. And I will starve to death in this MRI tube. And that's how it ends. So, and after you stave off that one, then there's Marilyn saying, inhale, exhale. Breathe. So that was how my day went. I have no idea what the results are yet. So,
you know, a lot of people talk about being claustrophobic when they go in that tube, and I guess that's one thing that's never happened to me. I've always been fine with, you know, the MRIs and that whole process. I don't know why, but I tell you what, I'm getting more and more anti-flying on airplanes. I don't fear flying, but we were in Georgia last week and flew back to Minneapolis last Thursday. And the last 30 minutes, there was this constant rolling turbulence. Yeah, I've had worse turbulence, but 30 minutes constant. We touched down. I'm dry heaving into the bag, something fierce. I just wish something could have come up. I'm dying. And so then we finally get off the plane and we take the I sit down by the baggage carousel. Thank God my wife and son were really understanding. They made shit of me, but I mean, they were understanding. Got in the car, took the shuttle to the parking lot, and son of a gun, I started dry heaving again. So I cashed it in. I said, go to IKEA, park in the shade, let me take a nap, shop to your heart's delight, and I need to recover here. God, I'm driving from here on out. I just can't do this anymore. Man.
Well, Nate, how are you going to die?
If I knew, I would probably do something about that, but I don't know. I was trying to think that, and I think I was in an MRI machine when I was a sophomore in high school. I just remember they thought I had leukemia, and that makes me think, is that how they check for, and they took blood tests and all that, and maybe they were looking for something else. And there was a semi, and in the back of the semi was this big machine.
Yeah.
And I got in it, and so maybe I think that's the MRI machine. They found nothing. I went and saw a blood specialist, and I showed up for him to tell me, well, we don't know what it is, but you'll be just fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. And my mom's like, you could just called us and told us that instead of driving all the way up here. And but I had to get about 4 years ago. I am a big guy. I used to be a lot bigger. And so my doctor wanted me to get my heart checked out. And so they inserted me with the dye or whatever, and then they had got me on a treadmill, and that sucks.
Those are killers.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, we need to get your heart rate up. And it's not getting up high enough. I'm like, oh, I've been running for a while, and so then they just had to raise the incline. Finally, I mean, I was just soaking sweat, and I got laid down. They checked, and it was fine for it. So,
did they do an echo?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I swore at the nurses when I had to do one of those. They kept pushing me. I was done. I was done. Get me off of this. Nope. Keep going. Keep going. Yep. Jeez Louise.
It's like, I wish they would be like, oh, you only have to run to this point. So I know, okay, I just have to get to that point instead of, no, we just need to keep on going until your heart rate is at a certain point, And I was like, oh. So.
Well, you fucking pansies. Last time I did a stress test, I begged them to make me do harder.
Well, hey, speaking of all this running, John, you're signed up for the Big Ten 10K, 5K. Nate, have you signed up yet?
I haven't. I'll do it. I did it last year. And then I remember last year I was pissed because I had my route all marked out. But part of my route is I actually have to start going 2 blocks north of my house and then essentially just turn around and come back in order to do I just did a 5K and I forgot. So then I ran 3.01 miles and I was pissed, so.
Well, I'm gonna sign up for the 5K. I will run a little bit. This will be Todd walking as fast as he can and maybe try to run a little bit. But yeah, it's time I get back off my butt and start doing something to improve myself.
We need to encourage others to be in better, healthier shape.
There you go. Look at us.
Encouraging everybody to become alcoholics. Now I'm the first guy that's going to go, I'm no longer an alcoholic. I'm a self-righteous non-drinker guy.
I told you that was going to happen. I knew that would happen.
Yeah. Look at how much you drink. Good God, man.
Well, hey guys, it's 100 days till the start of the college football season. And little bit of news on the Nebraska front as far as football is concerned. They're going to roll out the green carpet, it sounds, in 2022. So, Nate, what do you think about making that trip over the pond for a Nebraska football game?
So I have been to Ireland. It was probably 4 years ago. Yeah, I went with my wife. Loved it. We rented a car. We drove. Supposedly it's one of the more dangerous countries to drive in, because you're on the opposite side of the road and on the opposite side of the car. It actually didn't take me very long to get used to it. But so I looked into this because I thought, it'd be a great excuse to go to Ireland to go see a Nebraska football game. It's a pretty good excuse. And then I learned that. So my plan, if I were to do it, is I would fly into Shannon, rent a car, go do whatever, and then game day show up, go to the game, and do whatever, fly home. With this, you cannot buy it yet. You cannot buy a ticket unless it's part of a package, which includes, the 7 to 8 day, however they do that, and they're going to send you on excursions and all that stuff, and then I think that maybe that includes airfare, and it's anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 a person, and so I'm not going to do that. I like I don't like having everything planned out for me, and so I actually thought, I told my wife, I emailed her, I said, hey, it's like a big excuse to go to Ireland. So I think at some point they'll start just selling single game tickets or whatever, and it will have to be part of the package. And maybe I would jump at that, but I'd be looking more forward to being in Ireland than in going to the Nebraska game.
So, John, will you go to Ireland to watch the Nebraska Cornhuskers play a football game?
If I could get if I could get credentialed and write it off. Otherwise,
That's
my wife's
not a bad idea.
We need to go other places in the United States first. So,
yeah, that's been my excuse quite a bit, but Ireland is on my bucket list, and I don't know. My wife has said after the last 3 trips we've taken together, she has said, Todd, I will never travel with you again. So I'd like to go. Tammy's a great traveler. She gets everything organized. She knows how to do it all. But I don't know.
She'll never travel with you again. Why?
Because apparently I'm a bastard when we travel. I don't see it. But apparently I think I can pretty much quote her. You have ruined every vacation we have ever taken. And
oh my God. Wow.
I know what I did this time. I mean, we were out walking around Savannah, and we'd been walking for an hour and a half, and they have these in the historic district, they have these little parks. They call them squares, 22 of them, in the middle of these big old beautiful homes. I mean, that is neat. Well, I thought we were going west, and she wanted to go take a look at 2 more squares. And I said, really? We've seen a lot of squares. Do we really have? And I think maybe I used a little more colorful language. I'm sure I did, but that ticked her off, and apparently that was enough to ruin yet another vacation. I ruined our Viking cruise. Never mind the fact that for 8 of the 10 days on the cruise, I didn't have my luggage, and I sucked it up, and that's another story. But yeah, it was raining cats and dogs in Budapest, and I didn't want to go out, and so I whined when we went out, and thus ruined the trip to Budapest. So
I'm not sure how to react to that.
We've seen a lot of squares, honey. That's pretty funny. don't think the next two are going to be any different than the ones we've seen.
But if one was and we missed it, you know.
Well, I was just hoping to go to Dallas next week, but if I do have a blood clot in my heart, nobody wants me getting on a plane. But I have a great nephew who's graduating from high school, and he's one of the best soccer players in the state of Texas. And I'd like to go down there and give him shit for his graduation. That's my present to him. And I don't know if I'll be able to go now. So that's kind of.
Well, hopefully you can make that trip. So, and maybe there's a way we'll all get to Ireland and be able to watch the Cornhuskers. It would be really cool to be in Dublin, the three of us drinking Guinness, or John, you wishing you could drink Guinness.
You know what? If I went to Ireland, and then I would probably have at least a glass of Guinness, because I drank so much of it here, and I had to hear for years, well, that's better over there.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
See that?
I'm telling you, I don't drink Guinness here, and that's about all. I mean, they have a lot of other good beer too. But I do have a quick story about Ireland that involves Nebraska.
Oh, thank God for that.
I know, and then we can move on, right? So I was at a bar in Kenmare, and we closed it down 2 nights in a row. But the second night, I'm wearing my Nebraska hat, right? And there's this guy on the other side of the bar, doesn't say a word the entire time. And, a couple hours go by, and I'm just talking to people, and they're always very interested when you find out you're an American, and so that's always kind of fun. But things got a little quiet, and then he points at my hat, and he goes, "Go Big Red," and then that was it. And that's all he said. He goes, "Go Big Red," and that was it. And he happened to own the little market across the street, so he's Irish, but yeah, he saw
an accent.
Oh yeah.
Go Big Red.
I bought ibuprofen from him the next morning because I was pretty hungover. So, so yeah, if people see the end, they know what it means, even in Ireland.
Well, we were in Strasbourg, France, walking down the street, and I had a red cap with an N, and we walked and we saw a guy coming our way, and he had a cap with an N, and we saw each other at the same time, and it was, Go Big Red. Now, he wasn't French, he was American, but it's the universal greeting, Go Big Red.
I haven't been anywhere, so fuck you guys.
Okay, so back to football. Ronald Thompkins has put his name in the portal. I don't think anyone's surprised that that running backs are going to go, and there might be another running back, maybe two. I don't know. I hope not, but it would not be a surprise to see some other guys enter the portal. Everybody's predicted that. I don't get bent out of shape about the portal. It's a reality, and players have left football teams forever. Back in the early 80s. Go ahead.
Somebody on Twitter I think it was one of the Omaha World Herald guys. Somebody sent them a Omaha World Herald paper from back in the 80s. I think it was, or back in the late 80s, early 90s. And there was an article in the Omaha paper about how under Tom Osborne, like 50% of their, we bitch so much, but 50% of their classes were not making it. In other words, 50% of his recruiting classes were gone by the time they were seniors. So this has gone on forever.
Well, it used to,
without a transfer portal.
Well, back when we were on campus, John, they played, 5 or 6 freshman games, and then they'd all redshirt the next year. And then after that third year, there were a lot of guys that moved on. And I know, I talked to a few of those guys back then, and they would talk about how all the assistant coaches had contacts at other colleges and universities, most of them smaller, and they'd help them get on at other schools. So it's nothing new. It's just frustrating, when you see players, in my opinion, who come in with a lot of accolades that then decide to go somewhere else. But it's a reality. It is what it is.
I saw where Purdue lost a 4-star guy today. I can't remember what he's, but yeah, it is. It's all over the place. Ronald Thompkins wasn't going to get a lot of carries.
On the flip side of that, with volleyball, Lexi Sun announced that she's going to come back and play for a 5th year. And, she certainly is a significant presence on the volleyball team. So I think everybody now is just kind of waiting to see if Lauren Stivrins decides whether or not, she's going to play another year. I think Lexi Sun, we talked and we've had a little bit of conversation from time to time about the whole name, image, and likeness. Lexi Sun stands to benefit a great deal from that. She's been, from what I understand, she's been a major presence with social media and has a lot of followers and that type of thing. So
I follow her on Instagram.
Who?
Lexi Sun.
You shouldn't say that out loud, Joe. No.
Hey, what do you mean? I follow Kelsey Robinson on Instagram.
No, I don't.
Kelsey Robinson is a goddess.
So okay. So I'm just saying that, just like you said, like, well, I do follow her on Instagram. You didn't
social
say,
media.
Yeah. If you say, oh yeah, I follow her on Twitter, like, oh yeah, you like her tweets. No, I can't give you crap for that.
I pay attention to the pulse of Husker sports, you motherfuckers. So I follow a shit ton of people on social media, and I particularly follow the volleyball women on Instagram because I want to know what they're posting. I mean, Kelsey Robinson is an absolute goddess, and it's interesting to see her post, like, I don't know, photos of her playing volleyball in China and then photos of her on the beach. And there's nothing wrong with that, for God's sakes. And Lexi Sun, honest to God, she is an Amazon. She is the closest thing to perfection in terms of volleyball goddessness that Nebraska's had. And we've had strings of them. So if that woman wanted to, I sell her own brand of coffee. My God, who wouldn't buy that coffee?
Well, she did say in the announcement, when they said she's coming back, she's graduated. She's going to work on her master's degree. I think it's, marketing and business and marketing and that kind of thing. And, I think this is a good move. If she'll play professional volleyball somewhere, but for her to, get a master's degree and be set for life after volleyball, I think that's a good business decision on her behalf.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is it would prove the point. It would show other volleyball players that if you want to come to a place that you're just going to make a boatload of money just by being on the Nebraska volleyball team, by God, I'm happy to oblige. You want to sell coffee? I'll buy your freaking coffee. There you go, man. Or start a line of clothing. It's probably not for me, but you get the idea. And why shouldn't they be able to do that? I know we're going to table the nil discussion for another time when we can cover it all over. But Lexi Sun, plus, I mean, she's probably, I don't know, I'm not Beth, but she has to be the best all-around player I think Nebraska has had, maybe. Just like all around in terms of being able to kill, in terms of digging, in terms of playing every position on the floor. She is quite a player.
No argument here. I don't. Some people might argue Jordan Larson, but
that's a good point.
So, what else do we got on our list here? Baseball. A couple of different things on the whole baseball front. First of all, NCAA came out and said that because of recent changes with CDC guidelines and because of protocols in the state of Nebraska, the College World Series is going to be free to sell all of their tickets. That will be interesting because last week there was a deadline. I just know my dad got his stuff and had to fill it out for his tickets, but they've already gone through the ticketing process with 50% attendance. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle the fact that now there's new rules. So that's exciting for the state of Nebraska, and that's a big deal for Omaha. That's great for Omaha. But our Cornhuskers enter 2 weekends where, quite honestly, everything is on the line. Every game is going to be incredibly important. They got 2 games against Indiana, 2 games against Ohio State this weekend, and then they end the season at home with 3 games against Michigan. And this is about as much excitement for Nebraska baseball as there's been for many, many years. So,
you think so?
Oh, I think so.
Okay. We're in first place heading into the weekend.
Nate, you're the one that's closest to the epicenter of Lincoln, Nebraska right now. I'll be there on Sunday. But what are your thoughts about what's coming up and the whole status of the baseball program right now?
I think a lot of time, with the exception of volleyball, it appears to me, and just like when Nebraska got swept by Rutgers, that the male sports, for whatever reason, don't show up in big moments. And I think this weekend is a huge moment. And that's what makes me nervous. And I think that's what we're going to find out is if Will Bolt's program, I mean, this is year 2, right? I mean, season 2 of his.
Yeah.
1.5.
Yeah, whatever, And so is his program going to be able to step up, I think, because I assume, the kids know it's a big deal. And so it's not like, they don't have a clue. But that Rutgers sweep was just, I mean, it is a killer, It's very likely that if they, what if they go 2-1 or whatever, that they might get a regional or whatever. And so I'm nervous. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Well, John's got an explanation for the Rutgers sweep. So, John, it's time for you to come clean.
Yeah, well, fuck. It was the only time I've been there since I've been dead. So I'm not going back until maybe I'll go see if I can get into the College World Series, but I don't think I'm going to the NCAA regionals if Nebraska gets one. Or I guess they already announced where they are, but I mean, I'm not going to go attend any. Just, baseball people are very superstitious.
Yeah, incredibly so. And
I mean, Nebraska's Sid looked at me and said, "I'm blaming you for all of this." And I thought, oh, maybe that's proper. I don't know. So, I mean, we came right back and beat up Rutgers the next week. So it's kind of like, oh, great. Maybe it was me. I don't know. But I would say that I guess I don't have any faith that the NCAA was ever going to give the Big Ten a regional. They already announced the regional sites, and the Big Ten didn't get a single one. So I don't have a lot of faith when it comes to the NCAA and Big Ten and how much they recognize what the Big Ten has done.
I agree with that, and I think under normal circumstances, the Big Ten, with the quality of teams that they have this year, I think that there'd be four Big Ten teams maybe make the tournament. But I'm nervous about that too. And I'd like to think that Nebraska's in the driver's seat and has a really good chance of getting, a regional bid. I know that D1 baseball has them, identified as a team right now, but they cannot walk out of this weekend. They got to be 2-2. They can't be worse, in my opinion. They can't be worse than 2-2 this weekend. And that's a pretty fine line when they're playing Indiana. And Ohio State, they split with Ohio State up in Minneapolis earlier this year. So it's a big weekend. I agree with what Nate had said earlier. But boy, wouldn't it be something if it comes down to those 3 games with Michigan at Haymarket Park, for all the marbles in the Big Ten. That would, I guarantee you that Nebraska fans would bring that intensity to the ballpark. It might not be just like when Texas came to town, but it would be pretty doggone close, I think, the excitement in the ballpark.
We need somebody to be an asshole.
Well, Michigan had a shortstop last year that was an asshole. Maybe they can bring him back.
How about Steve Owens from Rutgers, that fucker arguing all them every time something happened during the game, he's arguing about shit.
I don't.
We could hate. We got to find somebody to hate in baseball. I mean, I don't know if we'll ever hate him as much as we did, Texas. But all right, okay? Here's the thing: if we go into this weekend, we go 4-0. That means we beat Indiana twice, right?
Yep.
So that would knock them back a bit. Michigan has Maryland this weekend at Ann Arbor. And Maryland is 4th. Now, if Maryland could win that series, we could clinch a Big Ten title this weekend.
Those are big ifs.
Mm-hmm.
But to even add more excitement to it, who does Maryland play next? When Nebraska's playing Michigan, who does Maryland play?
Indiana?
Indiana.
So it's going to be a wild ass finish to the year all around.
Yeah, the schedule makers couldn't have dreamed of a better scenario, but the Big Ten doesn't give a crap about baseball, so I don't want to give them too much credit. So anyway, but I guess that's kind of our wrap up, with what's going on with Nebraska sports. I don't know. I suppose it's time to wrap things up and go kick your dog, huh, John?
Yeah, well, it is the off season, so we can have stupid topics. And we welcome anybody out there who's listening still, that if you want to have us talk about a stupid topic, maybe you should comment on the website. There was a phone number we're supposed to leave your voice, but Greg's the only one that remembers it, and he is worn out trying to take care of twins. But we had a neat tweet this week.
Ooh, say that again.
What animal could you beat in a fight? Compared to women, men feel most able to take on medium-sized dogs and geese. And there is a tweet that we'll add the tweet to the show notes on the website, so you guys can discuss this along with us, because we need some community interaction here once in a while.
Can you share that on I assume this going to be on YouTube?
Yeah.
Can you share? Can you share this right now?
I knew how to do that.
Okay. I don't know how either. So, but anyways, keep going.
Okay. So there's a graphic. You guys looked at the graphic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So basically what it is which of the following animals, if any, do you think you could beat in a fight if you were unarmed? And we start with rat. And what it lists is women, 68% of women think they could beat a rat unarmed. I imagine, what was it, 32% didn't? A rat would kick their ass? Maybe they would. Do you remember the movie Ben? That's a long time ago.
That was way before Nate was a twinkle in his parents' eyes.
Yeah, it was. Willard, I think, was the other one. 76% of men, which means there's 24% of men answered that they could not beat a rat unarmed.
That would. Well, I think the reason for that is there's probably 24% of men are terrified to death of rats and would be afraid to have any kind of contact with a rat, I would think.
Maybe they looked at rats and said, well, they mean lawyers, not rats.
Well, do you think you could take a rat, John?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Just kick it.
Yeah.
Shoes. Yeah. Just kick it.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, they said you're unarmed. I would think that unarmed, I guess that doesn't mean you can be caveman armed where you can pick up a stick.
Okay, so how I read this is it's what animal could you beat in a fight, right? It's not
right.
Which animal would you beat in a fight and not get hurt, because when you go kick that rat, could it bite you? Yeah, but you're still going to kick it across the room and it's going to hit the wall and you won, right?
Right.
So the next one's a house cat. That's the same thing. That cat could, I feel, we're not trying to hurt animals here. We're talking about this because, but yeah, if you go grab the cat, it's going to bite you and that's going to suck, right? But then you could throw it across the room and guess what? You won, right? Then this is the goose, right? All of a sudden, the women go from 64% confident in the house cat to 51. Half of the women don't think they can beat a goose. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure how that works. I have seen, however, a video of a goose or some type of bird essentially warding off was it an alligator? No, it was
a Bengal tiger.
No, yeah, was it a tiger or a lion or something? Yeah, and just flapping its wings. I mean, still, but if you're actually fighting each other, which it wouldn't be flapping its wings to fight you. Yeah, you just grab it by its neck and you
swing it around a few times and throw it in the wall.
Yeah, throw it against the wall. Okay.
I think you guys are underestimating geese. We have geese all over the place here. Granted, when you run into a goose, it's when you run into geese, there's more than one. There's normally at least two and then goslings right now. So if you come close to them, they get pretty pissy. But I mean, one goose.
Does it say just one animal, right? Yeah. Okay, medium-sized dog. Yeah, that'd be easy, in my opinion. Okay, you're gonna get bit. Okay, second, an eagle. That's when you're like, okay, you're gonna take your chances here because if that can get to your eyes, your throat, whatever, with the claws, and that's kind of dicey.
Have you ever held an eagle?
I've on my arm or something or whatever. No, but I've been within a foot of one.
I did that once on Cub Scouts because the University of Minnesota has the Raptor Center where an eagle is a raptor. So they would do this presentation for our Cub Scout pack and they would bring these birds. And I mean, they were absolutely beautiful animals, but they bring owls and they would bring eagles, and the eagles are just, you cannot believe how big these damn things are. When they spread their wings out, they're freaking enormous. So
the wings can't hurt you though. So who cares how big the wings?
Yeah, they can.
The wings?
Yes.
How are the wings going to hurt you?
Well, they do this swoop, 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 and then it's like a superhero.
So they're gonna fly around and they're gonna nosedive at your throat. That's what they're going to do.
At your throat.
Those talons.
You're gonna go like this. Ah!
I know you're gonna get it and you're gonna miss, and it's gonna take you out. That's it.
Those talons would be just like razors.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm okay with the whole. Women are at 23% on that, and men are at 38%. I'm actually okay with that. The next is a large dog. Okay, so it depends. To me, it depends on the dog. On the breed. because
German Shepherd.
he said I have heard that. I mean, my dog's she's 90 pounds, extremely protective. But they say even those really protective dogs, if they haven't been trained to actually go, then they might not be any good if someone to break into your house. I don't know if that's true or not. But so if you just got a big old lazy dog, then yeah, I think you can win a fight. But if it's like a German Shepherd, oh man, there's no way. Some of those German Shepherds, I think that's just, you don't have a chance.
They're coming right after your throat.
Yep.
Cobra.
I think that
By default.
I think. See, I'm the King Cobra. I'd be like,
do I have access to venom? Do I have access to
Anti-venom?
Anti-venom. If I do, then yeah, that's an easy one, right?
No, you just have to win the fight, and if you die after that, that's your own fucking problem.
Oh, okay.
This is about fighting or something.
And then we have a chimpanzee, and I'm pretty sure that's a 0 chance. So I'm going to win that one. And then kangaroo is the last one I think I could win.
You're going to beat up a kangaroo.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could. My confidence level will be much higher than 17%. I think. I mean, it might be like 35%. I don't know. But other than that, the rest of them I would just get destroyed, right? I think so.
I think kangaroos can be pretty nasty, and they're so strong in their legs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would bet on the kangaroo, but do I think I could beat him in a fight? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. This is a silly discussion. Obviously, I wouldn't want to fight one by any means.
Okay, look at the next three though. We got crocodile, gorilla, and elephant.
Okay,
see, I think crocodile. I mean, they're low to the ground.
I think.
I don't know how you're going to kill them with your bare hands, though.
No, but I think if you got behind it, maybe, and you're not trying to kill them, it's just trying to beat them in a fight.
What's that mean?
Have you ever seen
a fight to the death?
Maybe, but have you seen Ace Ventura? Isn't that when he's the alligator's hitting himself with his hands? Is that Ace Ventura? No.
Okay. I don't know. Okay, so crocodile, gorilla, elephant.
Oh, gorilla's going to destroy you.
First of all, gorillas are incredibly powerful beings, and they tear your arms off.
Yeah, gorilla, we don't stand a chance with the. No. You skipped over wolf.
Oh, there's no chance. Yeah,
I don't think so either.
Yeah. Oh, good God! A wolf is just a large dog.
No. Mm-mm.
Yes, it is.
No.
Okay. The throughout history, we have been barraged constantly with movies and books and media that tell us about wolves attacking human beings. And if you go out and do research and look into wolves attacking human beings in North America, you'll find like almost none. Most of those
Russian wolves.
Yeah,
Russian wolves.
Russian wolves, yes. But here in the United States, you just go ahead and look it up right now, Nate.
What?
Oh, you don't know how to use Google?
I didn't care enough because I'm not worrying about, are they going to, what are my chances of getting killed by one? It's if we're actually in a fight. So.
What's interesting here is the percentages don't drop very much between crocodile, gorilla, and then elephant. Like, how are you going to what 8% of women are going to kill an elephant? What 9% of men are going to kill it? That's a lot of balls. I mean, what are you going to like take off your own arm and beat it? I don't know.
You go for the balls. You go for the balls. That you got it.
With your teeth.
Latch onto those babies.
An elephant.
I don't know, but the elephant's not gonna. They might try to stomp you, right? I don't know. I think they're kind of. I don't know. I'm not gonna beat one.
They're enormous, ginormous animals. How are you gonna kill an elephant with your bare hands?
Again, So then again, I think, no, I just got to beat it up a little bit and I win.
You're going to box it. You're going to box an elephant.
Yep. And then he's just going to hit me. You know, he's going to boom and just knock me over, and then I'll get up and then I'll try again. You know, no, I do find it funny that 9% of guys think they could beat up a gorilla. I'm like, really? That thing you would last a half a second, you know. But I do find it funny though that 8% of women think they could beat a lion, while only 7% of men think they can. So
yeah, what the hell is that about?
Yeah, I don't know. I actually think I would have a better chance against a grizzly bear than I would a gorilla. I don't know. I don't know why. I think, you know, and I'm gonna, you know, it's like I'm gonna lose to both, right? It's like, you know, if I had to, if I always say if there's a gorilla over here and a grizzly bear over here, I'm probably gonna go to the grizzly bear, right? I would rather.
And what are you going to do? What exactly are you going to, what's the tactic you're going to use?
I have no idea, John. I just know that if you have two roads, I'm picking that one, you know. I don't know. I don't really have a good answer to that, you know.
I know what I would do with a grizzly bear. I would lay on the ground and pretend to be dead. And when it got really close to me and went to open its mouth, I would shove my head right into its mouth as hard as I could. Just right into its throat, and it would go, good God, I didn't expect this. And then it would choke to death. There was, and I would just hold on to it, just going, and I don't know if it could clamp down on my head and smash me or what, but I would just, you know. And then as I was doing that, I'd be trying to hold its head there, and I'd be gouging it in the eyeballs with my thumb.
You know, I think I have heard, though, that grizzly bears they won't kill you. They'll just start eating you, you know, and at some point you'll bleed out. And so that actually makes me think maybe I'll take my chances with the gorilla, because I'd rather the gorilla just pound me and kill me, you know, than a grizzly bear just holding me down and just taking bites out of me until I bled out.
I will say that because of this graph, what you can look at with this graph and it determine is there's like between 6 and 8% of women apparently in the United States are some of the biggest badasses on the planet, because they would take on a grizzly bear, lions, elephants, gorillas, crocodiles, and a wolf and beat them. And I would have to say that those are Nebraska volleyball players right there.
I thought they were representatives from Southeast Colorado and Northern Georgia.
My wife just walked in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can ask her.
Yeah.
Questions.
I think we need a female perspective.
Okay, so there's a study done, and the question was, what animal could you beat in a fight between men and women? You can't have unarmed, no weapons. Okay. So you say yes or no. If you were to fight them, okay, we're gonna start with a rat. Okay, yes, house cat. Yes, goose. She says, oh, they're mean. Yes, medium-sized dog. Yes, an eagle. No, I don't know. She doesn't know about that one. She's, how about a large dog? Oh, geez. And then the king cobra, chimpanzee, kangaroo. No. Wolf, crocodile, gorilla. No. Elephant, lion, grizzly bear. So this says that 7% or 6% of women think they could be a grizzly bear. So yeah, she medium-sized dog was probably where her line was, I think.
So really what we're in your marriage, basically she could kick your ass.
Probably, yes. I haven't found out yet, but yeah, I'd let her kick my ass.
You notice your spouse isn't on the list here.
That wouldn't be politically correct.
No, but it'd probably show that women would be like 95%, and men would be like 2%. All right, what else we got? We got anything else?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much done it. So, so does that mean it's time that we wrap things up, huh?
Yes.
Nate, when do you have a counter bootleg podcast coming out? Anytime soon?
I'm hoping to sometime this week. I have an idea. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. So, and I think Greg will be very happy with the topic. So,
well, that's something to look forward to there. John, you were a guest last night. Is that
yeah,
on the Crimson and Cream machine, huh? And
link to that too. These guys, I mean, we talked a little bit beforehand, and I thought we were going to talk about this year's teams and this year's games, but they started asking me all sorts of questions about the past. And like one of the questions was, what Nebraska lost, or when have you felt the saddest about Nebraska football? And I thought, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? I mean, my God. So at that point, I had to tell him, because I didn't tell him before that. Well, I've been dead. My memory is really crappy. And I think actually I talked long enough to come up with the 1987 loss to Oklahoma. It was my last year at Nebraska as a student. Heidi was with me at that game, and we were winning at halftime because they kept fumbling. And it was the second game of the century. If you remember right, I think Nebraska and Oklahoma are 1-2. And I turned to my wife and said something I really don't want to say out loud, but I'll say it anyway. I turned to her at halftime and I said, we're beating them up enough that I feel sorry for them. And they came back and they just beat the shit out of us physically in the second half. They just stomped the fuck out of Nebraska. That was Broderick Thomas, remember? Keys to our house stuff.
Wasn't Brian Bosworth playing for Oklahoma at the time too?
That's probably about the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was at that game. That was incredibly frustrating. So
they also asked me who was my favorite Nebraska alum. Now, they didn't tell me these questions beforehand time. So I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. Me, of course. But I answered Harold Edgerton. Either of you know who Harold Edgerton is?
No.
Harold Edgerton is an engineer who invented the strobe, or the flash. And he invented it like in 1930 something, I think. The first things that he started taking photos of was like hummingbirds in flight, like drops of water. There's a very famous photo, I think, that he did of a bullet going through an apple. And it's I don't know what they were expecting, but Harold Edgerton was a Nebraska alum. So, and I do photography, and that's one guy I was always fascinated with photography and strobes. In fact, when I was a sophomore at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, we won't say his name, I did the project for one of the guys on our dorm floor who was a senior. I did his senior project because he was so terrible at designing circuits as an electrical engineer. And I designed a motion-based flash. It would, if something passed in front of the motion detector, it would set off a flash. And I built I designed this network, or this circuit. I built the whole thing. And then I had to sit down and explain to him so he could sit in front of his senior board and explain this project. So
wow.
There you go.
Wow.
There we'll end on.
We'll end on that. It's been a pleasure spending time with you two guys again, and nice to see, John, that you survived your medical procedures today. Hopefully you get good news back. So I guess this will be the end of it. This has been the 5 Heart Podcast, where 5 hearts is all you need. Or 3 hearts or in John's case, one totally functioning heart is enough.
It'd be nice to keep it that way.
So
even if it's marginal.
This is Todd Wolverton signing off. It's been a pleasure having you here tonight, Nate. And John,
go Big Red.